Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Look at you.
So here we are, the moment of truth. The bail package that everyone has been waiting on is finally here. Diddy has updated his bail package, offering the same amount as before, but there is now very strict monitoring conditions that are more than enough to ensure he shows up for trial and doesn't pose a danger to anyone. Allegedly. Diddy's attorneys are claiming that the jail that Diddy is currently being held in has made it very difficult for him to access the discovery material that he needs to review, and the environment is not suitable for him to meet with his lawyers and prepare for trial. So they need him out. There is so much that we are going to cover today, but before we do, please be sure to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell for notifications so you don't miss out on any news regarding this story and so much more. Now let's get back into it. Now, this bail package has been long awaited, and I told you before that one of Diddy's attorneys, attorney Alexandra Shapiro, is one of the heavy hitters when it comes to writing appeals. Diddy's release from jail so far has been denied twice, once by Judge Robin Tarnowski and secondly by Judge Aaron Carter. Diddy and his team are hoping that with this new third set of eyes, Judge Arun Subramanian, he may just have a fighting chance at getting out. So let's see what's going on. Diddy's defense team is saying that the government's evidence is very thin. They don't really have anything. They're going off of Cassie and the video that happened in March of 2016, stating that the video is not evidence of a coerced freak-off, but rather a minute-long glimpse into a complex but decade-long consensual relationship between Mr. Combs and victim one. They're also stating that the recent lockdown that happened at the Metropolitan Detention Center that's currently housing Diddy has made it damn near impossible for his defense team to meet with him in preparation for the trial. And because of all of that that's going on, they're stating that the court can revisit the prior detention order under two separate provisions of the Bail Reform Act. So the first provision allows the court to hold a new hearing on bail if new information comes up that wasn't known at the time of the original decision. The new information must be important and affect whether the person can be safely released, meaning they will show up to the trial and won't be a danger to anyone or the community. And secondly, this section gives the court the authority to change the detention order if it's necessary for the defendant to prepare their defense or for another very important reason like a health issue or anything like that. Lastly, the court has what is called an inherent authority, which means it has the power to reopen a bail hearing or reconsider a detention decision even if the situation doesn't strictly fit the rules under Section 3142. And with this particular case, there's a new judge, and in this situation, the new judge is not bound by the previous judge's decision. So what that means is just because the first two judges denied Diddy does not mean the new judge has to go along with what the old judges were saying. So let's get into this new bail package. It says the defense proposes the following updated bail package, which will assuage any concerns of danger and obstruction and will ensure Mr. Combs' appearance in court. So they're still offering a $50 million bond, which will be co-signed by Diddy himself, his mother, his sister, the mother of his oldest daughter, the mother of his youngest daughter, and his 3 adult sons. Secured by the equity in Mr. Combs' residence located in Miami, Florida, and unencumbered property appraised at about $48 million. Further secured by the equity in Mr. Combs' mother's home in Miami, Florida, full home detention at the residence in Miami or at a suitable location in New York with GPS monitoring. Counsel will travel to this location for any in-person meetings with Mr. Combs or have counsel meetings via video to the extent Mr. Combs' travel is necessary to attend court or pre-approved medical appointments. His travel will be restricted to the Southern and Eastern Districts of New York and Southern District of Florida. Mr. Combs must pay all or part of the cost of location monitoring, 24/7 monitoring by qualified security personnel approved by the government, and pretrial services. Mr. Combs will have no access to telephones or to the internet except for during calls with counsel to be arranged by security personnel. Restrict all visitors except for counsel and a pre-approved list only consisting of specific family members with the consent of pretrial services and the government. Family visits will be scheduled only with pretrial services prior approval. Security personnel will monitor family visits. Mr. Combs shall avoid all contact directly or indirectly with any person who is or may be a victim or witness in the investigation or prosecution. Mr. Combs will continue to provide pretrial services, random access to the residence. Mr. Combs' passport was surrendered to his counsel on April 1st, 2024, which counsel will provide to pretrial services. The following family members have already surrendered their passports to counsel, who will provide them to pretrial services: Janice Combs, Chance Combs, Jesse Combs, and Delilah Combs. Counsel will continue efforts to sell Mr. Combs' airplane. The defendant shall submit to testing for a prohibited substance if required by the Pretrial Services Office or supervising officer. Testing may be used with random frequency and may include urine testing, the wearing of a sweat patch, a remote alcohol testing system, and/or any form of prohibited substance screening or testing. The defendant must not obstruct, attempt to obstruct, or tamper with the efficiency and accuracy of prohibited substance screening or testing. Mr. Combs must participate in a program or counseling if directed by the Pretrial Servicing Office or supervising officer. All other standard conditions of pretrial release. Additionally, for the avoidance of any doubt, and as stated during the September 18, 2024 hearing, if Your Honor wants something more or different, we can do whatever Your Honor thinks is necessary regarding release conditions. Then they brought up other cases like Jeffries, who was recently released on bail after trafficking dozens of young men, including through witness intimidation. So it's pretty much like, if you did it for him, why won't you do it for me? So they go on by saying Diddy has 3 charges in his indictment. The first being racketeering conspiracy, the second being sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and the third being transportation to engage in prostitution. So Diddy's team is saying that over the past 6 weeks, the defense has received approximately 23.5 terabytes of discovery material, and the material reveals new information about the case, the evidence, and the government's previous bail contentions that was not known to the movement at the time of the hearing. So the next part is blacked out by Diddy's team, but from what I'm seeing, it seems like they're talking about Cassie and how Cassie never really mentioned being sex trafficked until she came to Diddy in 2023 requesting money from him, which Diddy did not want to give her. This was 5 years after their breakup, and the evidence shows that these allegations were merely attempts to obtain a financial windfall from Mr. Combs. In spring of 2023, victim 1, who was Cassie, revealed to one or more others that she needed money to support her small family. She told others that she had started writing a book about her relationship with Mr. Combs. In June of 2023, she texted Mr. Combs' employee that Mr. Combs should contact his lawyer to have his lawyer speak with her lawyer. She followed up on this by text on June 15, 2023. That same day, her lawyer contacted one of Mr. Combs' lawyers who, expecting that she might make an extortion demand, recorded the conversation. During the approximately 8-minute recorded call, the lawyer confirmed victim 1, who was Cassie, was writing a tell-all book and that Mr. Combs could buy the exclusive rights of the book for $30 million, which would ensure that it was not published. Mr. Combs and his lawyers considered that an extortion demand and did not pay the money. And boy, did that cost him a lot of money. Now, in the fall of 2023, victim 1 pursued a different strategy, the Adult Survivors Act, which is ASA, which suspended the traditional statute of limitations for sexual assault claims, was scheduled to expire on November 24, 2023. In November, victim 1, who was Cassie, indicated in discussions between the lawyer and Mr. Combs' lawyer for the very first time, 5 years after their relationship ended, that she had been sexually abused by Mr. Combs, again demanding $30 million. To be clear, the statute of limitation for non-sexual assault, battery, and other alleged offenses were subject to the typical statute of limitations for those torts. Accordingly, the only way a plaintiff could avail herself of an ASA is by alleging sexual assault. Thus, on November 16, 2023, days before the ASA expired, victim 1 filed a civil complaint alleging inter alia sex trafficking. The case settled quickly without any admission of wrongdoing. So they go on to say that with the release of the civil complaint from Cassie, law enforcement saw an opportunity to build a criminal case against Mr. Combs. Discovery shows that within days of the civil case setting, this investigation began. The government recycled victim 1, Cassie's allegations, but the case requires her potential testimony, which will be refuted by years of written correspondence and other documentary evidence. So they go on to talk about Diddy's other cases, but it's so blacked out I can't even tell you who they're talking about or what they're talking about. But they go on to talk about Diddy's character and his contributions to the world. They said that Diddy was born to his mother and his father, but his father died when he was 3, and he did not find out exactly how his father died until he started attending school at Howard University. Now, his mother raised him. She was very protective, and she instilled a strong value of faith and redemption. He went to Catholic school. He attended Howard University. He worked at Uptown Records. Diddy did this. Diddy did that. He's a philanthropist. He gives to his family. He gives to the world. The way they went down all of Diddy's accolades, you would have thought he was Mother Teresa. They also talk about all of these terabytes that the government has that they keep giving Diddy's team. And unfortunately for Diddy, he's unable to see everything because not only are they having lockdowns, during one of these lockdowns, they came and got Diddy out of his cell. They went through all of his stuff. He had all of these notes that he had been taking with the attorneys. He had them filed right nicely, and they went through all of his stuff. They took his pen, which left him unable to take notes while reviewing discovery or during counsel calls. As a result of this lockdown, the defense counsel was delayed in meeting with Mr. Combs, losing time for trial preparation. The jail will not allow Diddy's attorneys to bring him notebooks, folders, physical documents, or anything like that. And Diddy's attorneys brought a laptop to the government to give to Diddy so he could try to go over some of this information. And Diddy has been waiting for this for over a month. So let them tell it. Diddy has been going through, and because of all of that, he needs to get out immediately. And let's also talk about this gag order that Diddy's attorney Mark Agnifilo tried to put into place, silencing not only the victims but also the victims' attorneys. So to not bore you, let's go ahead and just summarize this for you. So the court is denying a request made by Diddy to impose a gag order on potential witnesses and their lawyers in his case. Combs argued that public statements from these people could unfairly affect his rights to a fair trial by influencing the jury or creating a biased atmosphere. So Combs wanted to stop anyone who claims to be a victim and their lawyers from making public statements about the case. The court found that this was an overly broad request and that there's no legal rule that allows for such an extensive gag order, especially one that would cover people who might not ever be a witness in the case. The court pointed out that the local rules that Combs cited and prior court decisions don't support placing blanket restrictions on speech by all alleged victims and their lawyers. Like trial participants, gag orders are very rare and extreme, meant only to address specific issues like making prejudicial statements, not general public speech. In other words, Judge Subramanian said, stop wasting my time with these dumbass requests. Request denied. So to end, Mark Agnifilo submitted this notice of motion for bail. They submitted all of their exhibits and their memorandum of law, and they want Diddy out of there as soon as the judge can come up with a date. So what I need to do is hear from you. What do you think about the possibility of the diddler being released? Leave a comment, and you know how we do. We'll talk about it down below. Talk to you guys later. Bye. As always, thanks for watching. But before you go, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any of my new episodes.